What's up, everyone? Back reviewing Manchester United's most recent game. Today was a 1-1 tie in the Premier League against Bournemouth. Um, yeah, I guess reflecting on the game, I think there's just like glaringly obvious things that we have to point out. The refereeing in the Premier League is absolutely atrocious. It's just another example of a referee making the game about themselves, missing obvious calls, and it impacts the game. Like, that's just the reality of it. The Premier League has to make changes to the refereeing structure in the Premier League. The current system is not working. The current system is an abomination to the sport, and it just does not make sense. What is the point of having all of these cameras? What is the point of having all of these people sitting in some back office watching the replays, watching the plays in slow motion? What is the point of that if you still can't get the calls correct? It just doesn't make sense. I think it reflects poorly on the Premier League, reflects poorly on the FA, and of course reflects poorly on the referees. And they do have the ability to impact games negatively. And the reality is, until the Premier League holds refs accountable for their poor decision making and for their poor refereeing by sacking them to a lower division, taking them off of games, until there is a punishment for referees for having terrible performances on the pitch, we won't see changes in this. And so I don't know really what the solution is for either fans or I don't know. I literally don't know what the solution is. I don't know if fans need to start a petition and bring it to the UK government against the Premier League or something in order to get some sort of standard body of refereeing solidified in the English Premier League, because what is happening right now is an abomination. So I'll just start with that, and then now I'll talk about the football. So Bournemouth obviously is a good footballing side. We know that. We know that they can play football. But at the end of the day, we still have this certain expectation of United. I think it wasn't necessarily the brightest performance. I think there were too many moments where Bournemouth was allowed to maintain possession and create, dangerous attacks. And to those key moments as well, which led to Bournemouth's goals. I think it's really important for our players to be able to read the game and know when you need to foul someone, when you need to get that smart yellow card, when we just need to poke the ball out of bounds, to give VAR hopefully the time to review a play. We have to make those things happen, I think, in moments of the game. I think there are too many moments in the game where United are kind of okay with, letting a quick transition happen, or are okay with allowing the other team to have possession. And those moments, I think that our pressure and our awareness of the situation in the game needs to be a little bit sharper. And I think obviously with a team like Bournemouth, they make it difficult to play. I mean, there were moments when United did create decent movements going forward, but there wasn't really that finishing element to our attacks. I think this is another game similar to last week where I'd be calling for more shots. We need shots. We need people to be willing to take the opportunity, to take the chance from outside the 18, have those shots and create, something else. I think like Bruno Fernandes needs help, right? Obviously, Bruno is an immense player for Manchester United, has immense importance to the team, and is one of the best midfielders of all time. That we can for sure, without a hands down, say for certain. But with that being said, Bruno Fernandes needs help on the team. We need other people who are going to get an assist and get a goal, and maybe even get Bruno a goal. I mean, we need more, I guess, like more daggers in our attack. We need more people who can hurt the other team. I think when Cunha finally ran at somebody and took people on, he won a penalty almost immediately. I think we need to see more of that in games. We need to see Ahmad running at people, taking people on in the final third. We need to see Membo running at people, taking people on, getting those shots away, and Cunha doing the same thing. I think right now form, not the form, but the formations in which United is running in the attack, it kind of, it feels like if we don't get wide and get the cross, or, get the cutback, it doesn't really feel like we have any other ideas. And I wish sometimes, one of our players would just take a cut and shoot or beat one player and shoot, especially when we have players like Ahmad and like Brian and like Cunha who can run at players and who can create a yard of space. And the reality is that's all you need, a yard of space to take your shot on. So I really think that that would be an important addition to the attack. I've said it now for a couple of weeks. We need more shots from distance from players like Bruno, from Casemiro, from Cunha, from Membo, from Ahmad, who can all shoot from distance. Every single one of those players can all shoot very well from distance. So we need more of those shots to draw the defense of these other teams out to try and, they're going to, as you shoot from distance, the defense is naturally going to try and step out to block those shots from distance. And then that's going to create those smaller pathways in which we can cut through them and pass through them with good passages of play. And I think we're seeing glimpses of that. We see very good glimpses throughout the game of good passages of play. But yeah, I think just the end result isn't quite there in certain moments in the game. Obviously, Bruno goal, corner kick, own goal. I think the penalty came kind of just from a long ball, but it came from Cunha receiving the ball and then running at people, taking people on, and going straight to goal. And I think that that is kind of that killer instinct that we're missing a little bit in our attack. It just needs to be cutting edge. We just need to take that shot, take that risk. We need someone else other than Bruno to take on some of the responsibility in the attack. And I think that that would make a massive difference for Manchester United going forward. As far as the rest of the game, I mean, we can nitpick a lot. I personally do think that Michael Carrick should have made some substitutions a bit earlier. I think even before the red card, you could kind of see United falling into a defensive shape when we were up 2-1. But, we had just scored and then it was kind of that post goal lull. You could see some tired legs, some of our more attacking base players were showing signs of fatigue. So I think picking up on those cues and making those first substitutions, closer to the 70-minute mark, closer to the 75th minute mark to allow, those players to come in and have an impact. I think that kind of would have been the difference in the game. Not saying substitutions would have potentially saved the joke of a penalty that was called against Harry Maguire, but those substitutions would have given us some more energy so that we could have pressed higher up the field in the second half. And had we been pressing higher and not allowing them to play as much, we potentially could have won the ball higher up the field, which would have prevented, Bournemouth from breaking down United, which led to the penalty. So that would have been probably my only note managerially in which United probably needed to make subs a little bit earlier to try and impact the game and bring that energy back. Because once United score the second goal, again, I personally think the thought process should be, can United score a third goal? Can United score a fourth goal, a fifth goal? Like really bury teams. I think that really should be the end goal of every game. And so, yeah, around 70, 75 minutes, who can come off the bench and really impact the game and lift United back up. And I think that that is going to be a key point for Michael Carrick in the coming weeks with, the last 7 games of the season. It's going to be not only the core players who are starting are going to be immensely important, but who can we rely on off the bench to come in, add to our team and give us more strength and give us more prowess. I think at some point we got to make those tough decisions in games. It's okay if, Membo, Ahmad, or Cunha, if they haven't been effective up to 70 minutes in a game. I think it's okay to pull one and put Sheshko on. Mason Mount back from injury, good option. Lacey, Shea Lacey, the young United talent. We haven't seen him at all. It'd probably be nice to have throw a youth player in the mix a little bit. I think that in these games, especially going into the end of the season, it's time to just throw things at the wall. Let's do anything that can be done to try and get 3 points in every single game. And yeah, sometimes I think with the red card, it obviously changed the element of the game, and then you can't really attack the game when you're trying to, secure that 1 point. So yeah, obviously after the red card, the game was basically done at that point. But yeah, really the premise of this is that the Premier League has to sort out the refereeing situation. I think while you're having refs dictate the results of games without any repercussions, we're in a very dangerous precedent within the sport. I think something has to be done to create some consistency against throughout VAR and throughout the people who are running VAR. And if they cannot be consistent in their calls, they need to be removed from VAR. And that is just the reality. And if the Premier League and if the FA won't do that, then us, the fans, need to sign the petitions or start boycotting games or doing something in order to demand change in the Premier League. Otherwise, we can't really complain when the refs make terrible calls, right? Like, if we are not going to take the action, the FA and the Premier League, I don't know if they're going to take the action either. So something has to give in order to, bring some standards back to refereeing. And then along that, I just think that in attacking wise, Manchester United just needs to continue to mix it up, continue to be more fluid in the attack, continue to commit to attacking, take players on in the final third, take those shots even if it's not on. And our attacking players have to be a little bit selfish. I mean, you've got to want to score as well. And want to get that statistic, want to get that assist. Bruno obviously is obsessed with winning, so that's why he is doing it. But we need other players on the team to kind of step up and match Bruno's energy in terms of like the kind of desire to score and the desire to assist. And I think that would go a long way, because I think Manchester United is missing out on opportunities to score by maybe overpassing and overlooking for options, overlooking for the cutback. But sometimes just shoot the ball, just take the shot, take the risk, take that responsibility. And if you blow the ball into the high stands like Dallo did today, you just put your hand up and apologize. I mean, for God's sake, at least you tried something, right? So overall, fine result, point on the road, difficult match to go and play, furthest away match of the season. So yeah, I think overall United can be happy with the point on the road. I think, and the reason I say that here, where previously I would be frustrated with a point, the reason I say a point on the road is good today is simply because the referees dictated the game. I'm not going to comment on, which penalty was softer than the other. I personally think both penalties would have been soft. Ahmad's would have been soft, and the one on Harry Maguire was tremendously soft. I think there needs to also be a little bit more integrity from the players to stop going down and stop jumping on the ground so easily, because once, attacking players stop being so, I guess, I don't know, if once attacking players stop diving and stop inflating the severity of these tackles, then we can also kind of get back into more of the football. And I think that that's also massively important. I think any player that goes flailing down on the ground, not a foul. I just think we know when it's a foul. The penalty against Cunha, clear as day. Jersey grabbed, saw the jersey being pulled, clear foul. I just think there has to be a bit more integrity on the footballer side as well. Stop with the theatrics. Stop jumping on the ground. Stop diving. That stuff is so lame. Like, I don't even know what to say for it. For the footballers who play like that, it's just sad to see. You need to stay on your feet. Go ahead and take that shot. Go ahead and try and get your shot off. That looks a lot better, because at the end of the day, if it is a foul, the camera should pick it up, right? Like, why even leave it up to chance? I just think if you're getting pulled in the box, but you can still take your shot, why wouldn't you still take your shot? I don't know. I personally don't know. When I played footy, I was a defender, so I obviously am more so on the defender's side of things, where I feel like attacking players do go down just way too easily and inflate soft fouls and make it look like they're literally writhing in pain, when we know that's just not true. So yeah, I think there are elements on both sides, but I think the primary element that needs to be addressed is the refereeing, because the refereeing is simply atrocious. So, but overall, a point on the road, we'll take it and we'll go again, up the Reds. I think, Bruno Fernandes, absolutely class once again. Solid performance from Kobe Mainu. Euro was brilliant. And yeah, Lamens once again, holding it down at the back, and that's really what you need. So really good performance from some of the players on the team. And yeah, just see what happens in the next match. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.